It's hard to know where to start reviewing a movie like this. It's so widespread as a fan favorite, and there's so many opinions on the movie, it's hard deciding where to start a review. I guess you could start with looking at what the original started, landing the later star of the series Jason to iconic stature. I even had the video game. I also wanted to bring in some footage of the making of documentary, or at least one of them. It's amazing what happened to the cast because of this movie, Adrienne King in particular.
I had someone who came into my life, a very bizarre situation. It was a person who was obsessed and for some reason obsessed with me. I had a reevaluation of my career at that point. I realized that I just didn't want to be in front of the camera that much.
That's unfortunate, but it does speak of how impactful the movie was, even to the lunatics. I will go through the film old style and show some of the highlights, but hopefully at the end I can have something useful to say that hasn't already been said. Like I was saying, a movie like this draws a lot of opinions. Well, it's Camp Crystal Lake, 1958. Some overly happy counselors are having a sing-along, and we get a creepy point-of-view cabin stock. Classic Friday. Well, nothing comes of it. We get our first couple run off. Not to get focused on something so quick, but they really established the formula early in this franchise. Anyway, the guy gets stabbed, the girl struggles, and, well, I assume she gets stabbed. And here comes the logo. The glass thing, though, a little bit lame. Now we pick back up on present day, so far leaving you with no idea what happened. Keep in mind, there were no other Friday films at the time, so the audience would have no idea what to expect, which may be hard to convey in a review. We meet Ralph. One of the girls was hitchhiking a ride to Camp Crystal Lake. We also see him in the second Friday film. So the town is warned that the place is jinxed or something like that. The group meets up, not a lot's happening at this point. The odd point of view shot to set the mood, and I imagine at first watch it would have an effect. A famous scene is the arrow scene. It's even pictured on the backs of some VHS release tapes. I'd be pretty pissed if I was her. Then a girl gets into the wrong van hitchhiking. It takes off fast and she actually jumps out. Pretty soft landing for how fast it was going. She takes off into the forest and gets her throat slit. Delightful choice. Why are all the kids expert divers in these movies? Moving on in this movie, the point of view shots really do start to give you the sense that there is a threat everywhere and in every shadow. I love when the guy raised his machete after killing the snake. He thinks he's pretty badass. We meet Ralph for the second time and he startles Alice. He states that they're all doomed if they stay there. The character adds a foreshadow, but makes the film a little bit more complex. Not a lot, but a little. Kevin Bacon and his girlfriend have a completely useless conversation before retiring back to their cabin. They get busy, but we'll get back to them. Also, this has similar kills to number 3, which did a tribute to this movie. We see Funny Boy dead on the top bunk. Wasn't expecting that. Shortly after, Bacon gets one right through the neck. Man, that's disgusting. I love it. Likely the most famous kill scene from this movie. His girlfriend screaming gets killed. It's just hilarious. Steve is in town, and looking at his truck, could he be the killer? Well, we know he's not, but I'm sure that was the angle the original had in mind. Brenda had quite the scene down at the archery range. Alice and Bill find a bloody axe and alarm bells ring. Steve gets back to camp only to be taken out by someone hidden behind a light. But we get a clue that he knew the person. The power goes out of Camp Crystal Lake, and I think you get a sense of panic here. Well, Bill is checking out the generator, then nothing happens for a while. We literally watch her make coffee. But then she makes her way to the generator, and Bill's in rough shape. I wonder how Pam Voorhees managed to pin him up like that all alone. Alice barricades herself into a cabin. Again, we see a lot of this in future additions to the series. Well, Alice runs out and thinks she sees Steve, and we meet Pam Voorhees. I guess by now you would kind of expect her. Well, maybe. Pam starts on a bit of a speech, and she slowly loses her mind and gives away the mystery behind the film. The brawl begins, and what a psycho Pam is. Alice, somehow only being about 25 feet away after 20 seconds of running somehow, we hear a famous line from Pam.
Kill her, Mommy! Kill her!
The brawl intensifies, which is a plus, I guess. You're pulling for Alice, and you see both a vulnerable side and one of strength. The last battle on the beach, and Alice heroically decapitates Voorhees' head right out of the series, not including the odd Jason vision. Then the scene which shaped the direction of the series in my opinion. Alice sits in a canoe in a serene setting. Nothing supernatural happens in the film until... Alice tells the police about the boy, but the police deny finding any such boy. The movie ends there, focusing in on the lake, almost foretelling of things to come. Well, maybe they didn't know just yet, but they certainly wanted us questioning the role of Jason. The main weapon of attack for this film is really creating moments of anxiety, making it seem like you are being watched or not to go into a room. It's not the first film to do this by a long shot, but they do a decent job. Some fans, mostly on the younger side, tend not to be as attracted to this film. I think some fans falsely compare this film with the rest of the Fridays. At the time, this was the only known Friday film, and the only known antagonist was Pam Voorhees, and that was the story. The rest of the series takes on a life of its own, from film to film, really. There's a lot to say about this film, and like I said, I don't want to make it too long. I think I may revisit Friday the 13th later on in the year, and get to things I didn't get to in this review. I hope you enjoyed watching. This is Pat for HMRG. Take care.